Chaos has a way of rippling outward in college football, and right now its waves are crashing simultaneously in Columbus and South Bend, pulling two proud programs into the same restless current. Ohio State, a place that usually treats roster turnover as a temporary inconvenience rather than an existential threat, has found itself staring at something far more destabilizing. A bruising loss to Miami did more than end a season. It cracked open a locker room and sent players searching for certainty elsewhere. More than 21 Buckeyes have entered the transfer portal, a stunning number for a program accustomed to reloading quietly and confidently. And among the most intriguing names to emerge from that exodus is Quincy Porter, a former five-star wide receiver whose talent once symbolized Ohio State's recruiting dominance and whose future now feels very much up for grabs. As his name circulates across the country, Notre Dame has surfaced as a legitimate and compelling destination, creating a storyline layered with opportunity, urgency, and the complicated realities surrounding Irish head coach Marcus Freeman. Porter's path to this moment is not one of failure, but of stalled promise. When he arrived in Columbus, expectations followed him everywhere. Five-star recruits don't blend into the background by design, and yet Porter spent much of his early career navigating one of the most competitive wide receiver rooms in the sport. Jeremiah Smith emerged as a star. Carnell Tate carved out his role and eventually declared for the NFL. Opportunities flickered rather than flowed, and while Porter remained in the conversation, he never quite stepped fully into the spotlight. His production, limited by circumstance and depth, tells only a sliver of the story. 4 catches for 59 yards as he preserved his red shirt, numbers that do little to reflect the potential evaluators still see when they turn on the tape. Then came another shift, one that mattered deeply. Brian Hartline, the architect of Ohio State's receiver factory and the coach entrusted with Porter's development, departed for South Florida. For a young wideout already weighing his future, that change altered the equation entirely. Development paths blurred, roles felt less defined, and the portal became not just an option, but a necessary recalibration. That recalibration has brought Porter into Notre Dame's orbit at a moment when the Irish are searching desperately for momentum. Marcus Freeman has watched this portal cycle unfold with a mix of patience and visible frustration, seeing target after target slip away, while the narrative around Notre Dame's portal effectiveness hardened into skepticism. The Irish have lost players of their own, including K.K. Smith and Scrap Richardson, leaving holes in a receiver room that needs both depth and dynamism. Freeman has remained steadfast in his belief in high school recruiting, a philosophy validated by recent classes, but the modern game demands balance. Experience matters, timing matters, and right now the portal clock is ticking loudly towards its January 16th close. Porter represents more than just a possible starter. He represents belief. For Notre Dame, landing a former five-star from Ohio State would be a statement that reverberates beyond South Bend, a reminder that tradition and opportunity can still coexist with the fluidity of today's transfer market. There is a plausible path for Porter to step into a meaningful role immediately, perhaps even as a featured receiver, something that always felt just out of reach in Columbus. There is also the developmental appeal of working with wide receiver coach Mike Brown, whose track record at Cincinnati includes shaping players like Alec Pierce and Trey Tucker into NFL contributors. For a receiver whose calling card has always been potential rather than production, that environment matters. Evaluators still speak about Porter with the same intrigue that defined his recruitment. He may not always be the smoothest mover, but his release is sudden, his stride deceptive, and his ability to attack leverage gives defensive backs little margin for error. He covers ground quickly, eats cushion with a galloping pace, and then snaps routes off with unexpected sharpness. His length creates a natural advantage in contested situations, and his body control allows him to adjust mid-flight, plucking back-shoulder throws that turn tight coverage into completions. Those traits don't vanish because of limited snaps. They linger, waiting for the right setting. Notre Dame is not alone in recognizing that. Auburn, Miami, Michigan, Tennessee, South Carolina, UCLA, and Washington are all believed to be in the mix, each offering a different vision of Porter's future. Washington, in particular, presents a compelling argument, especially with Denzel Boston departing for the NFL and immediate opportunities available. In this race, proximity, coaching, scheme, and trust will all matter. So will timing. Freeman knows that waiting too long risks watching another potential solution choose elsewhere, further deepening the sense that this portal window has slipped away. All of this unfolds while Freeman himself navigates an uncomfortable and distracting off-field situation. The Notre Dame head coach is currently the subject of a law enforcement review stemming from an alleged incident at a high school wrestling event involving his son, Vinny. According to reports, the situation escalated after Vinny's match when words were exchanged with a New Prairie High School assistant coach who later filed a police complaint alleging battery. Details remain disputed, and Notre Dame has responded forcefully, issuing a statement that denies any physical engagement by Freeman and asserting that video evidence fully exonerates him. The university has stood firmly behind his head coach, but the mere presence of the situation has added another layer of scrutiny to an offseason already heavy with pressure. This convergence of storylines captures the fragile balance of modern college football leadership. Freeman is tasked with selling stability while navigating uncertainty, preaching focus while absorbing noise, and building a roster in a system that rewards decisiveness and punishes hesitation. The pursuit of Porter sits squarely at that intersection. It is about roster construction, yes, but also about momentum and perception. It is about showing players, fans, and rivals alike that Notre Dame can still act boldly even when circumstances are less than ideal. For Porter, the decision ahead will shape the trajectory of his career. He is still young, still talented, still carrying the weight and promise of a five-star label. The right fit could unlock everything that once made him such a coveted recruit. Whether that fit is Notre Dame remains to be seen, but the interest is real, the opportunity is tangible, and the stakes are undeniable. As Ohio State continues to reckon with an exodus that few could have predicted, and Notre Dame searches for a portal breakthrough to steady its offseason, this moment feels suspended between what was and what could be. In a sport defined by rapid change and relentless judgment, the next choice Quincy Porter makes may echo far beyond one transfer, shaping narratives in Columbus and South Bend alike.